Michigan is a hotbed for disturbing cryptid sightings. With everything from Dogman to corn monsters and more, we've got the most disturbing ones for you today. The Michigan Dogman has been terrifying locals since at least 1887, when not one, but two lumberjacks shared their sighting of the creature. According to legend, this cryptid has a dog's head on a man's body, but it isn't a werewolf. It's the Dogman, who for most witnesses steps out of the trees in an isolated part of the woods, performs some acrobatic moves, and then tears off into the woods. It was described as a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed, or amber-eyed, bipedal, canine-like animal with, yes, the torso of a man, but fearsome howls. But apparently they sound human. This creature was unknown to most of the modern world until very late in the 20th century. It is said to have been stalking the area around the Manistee River since the days when the Odawa tribes lived there. In 1937, in Paris, Michigan, not to be confused with Paris, Texas, or Paris, Canada, Robert Fortney was attacked by 5 wild dogs and said that one of the 5 walked on 2 legs. Flash forward to 2017, truck driver Joe Barger pulled over in the Dogman's territory in Manistee National Forest to fix a leaky tire. Well, I guess probably just a busted tire. According to Barger, he was under his vehicle fixing things up when he heard an unnatural animal call emanating from the woods. Assuming it came from a black bear, he fixed his thing, got in the vehicle, drove off, only to spot a giant wolf head in the open window of his very tall truck, keeping pace with the vehicle. Barger claimed the creature had huge white teeth with 3-inch long canines, long black ears, and huge, seemingly intelligent yellow eyes. After deciding the Dogman was kinda set on making him his next meal, Barger snagged his Colt and fired at the creature, blasting it into the weeds. Supposedly, the Dogman's body was gone when Barger turned around to check it out, and 2 people claimed they witnessed a bear fight where the body would have been. Going back a little bit of time, back in 1987, the legend of the Michigan Dogman gained popularity when a DJ at WTCM-FM recorded a song about the creature and its reported sightings. And he based the songs on actual reports. So this song was recorded with a keyboard backing and it was credited to Bob Farley. After the song was played on air, Cook received calls from listeners who said they'd had a lot of encounters. In the weeks after the song was first played, it was the most requested song on the station. Cook also sold cassettes of the songs for $4 and donated proceeds from the single to an animal shelter. Oh, before I forget, have you noticed anything in common with all these years? So according to legends, the Dogman appears in a 10-year cycle that falls on years ending in 7. And at the end of the day, sightings have been reported in several locations throughout Michigan, but primarily in the northwestern quadrant of the Lower Peninsula. So if you see a Dogman, a lot of believers think that if you simply clap, you're gonna scare it away. So try that. Good luck. As the legend goes, locals of the village of Wynn in central Michigan claim a corn monster lurks in the cornfields. To be specific, a shadowy figure that looks like a large, disheveled man emerges from the stalks and scares anyone driving in the rural area late at night. It's located near the intersection of South Wynn Road and West Blanchard Road in Fremont Township, Isabella County, which is about 12 miles southeast of Mount Pleasant. There was allegedly an encounter in 2003 from a delivery man who stopped on a country road near Wynn one night to just rest. The driver admitted that he occasionally felt before that night that there was something trying to reach out of the corner of his truck whenever he would drive down that road, but that night, things got different. He got out of his truck, wanted to just stretch his legs, and the next thing he knew, a frightening human-like creature appeared on the edge of the cornfield. He described this creature as unexplainable, dark, dirty, man-like, and our guy screamed, scrambled back into the vehicle, and drove off, passing by the thing as it stared at him until he was out of sight. As a matter of fact, the area in which the Wynn corn monster has been seen is very, very little. Nearly every encounter has been on that road, so Co Road, in Isabella County. It's interesting though, like to think about why this creature decided to stay in such a small area and how it remains so elusive. Also, like, what's gonna happen if they plant something other than corn in those fields? Does it become the soybean monster, the wheat monster, the cabbage monster? Those are also shorter crops, so then our monster's gonna have to crawl. Also, where does he go when the corn is harvested? Does he have like a cabin in the nearby woods? Scary movies and stories have taught, well, me enough at least, that if there's a scary cornfield, don't go near it. So what other residents have experienced this creature? Like, because there's gotta be some. Maybe it's time to take a trip. If you try to find out more about this legend, by the way, be aware that a lot of the online sites spell the town as W-Y-N-N, but the correct spelling, according to maps at least and the town welcome sign, is W-I-N-N. The Waheela is said to be a wolf-like creature the size of a bear that roams northern Michigan, Canada, and Alaska. It doesn't travel in groups, it's very solitary, likely due to its massive size and lack of local predators. So it's larger and more heavily built than normal wolves, with a wide head and proportionally larger feet and long, pure white fur. The animal's hind legs are said to be shorter than the front legs, and the tracks show widely spaced toes. Witnesses describe this as being 3.5 feet to 4 feet at the shoulder. Legends describe the Waheela as an evil spirit with supernatural powers and describe it as doing what? Just killing people and removing their heads. It has been theorized that the Waheela is an amphicyanid, which is a prehistoric carnivore of the Miocene era, or a dire wolf, a prehistoric hyena, or maybe even a completely new species of canine. The Waheela supposedly travels through a section of land called the Nahanni Valley on its way to and from Alaska. The area is also known as Headless Valley due to the large number of headless corpses found in it, all attributed to the Waheela. This snow-white creature allegedly travels silently on its massive paws and simply chomps the head of any unfortunate person it encounters on its way. According to an old Lowe legend, a ferocious hyena-like animal once roamed the American prairies, and due to its habit of killing and devouring dogs, the Lowe called this creature the Shunka Warakene, which translates to carrying off dogs. Every night this creature snuck into Lowe camps, and every morning a couple more dogs were found missing. So when the folks figured out that this had gone on long enough, they decided to ambush the animal. Armed with muskets and bows and arrows, they crouched in the darkness beside their teepees, not far from where the dogs were tethered. Suddenly, a strange wolf-like creature slinked into camp from out of the darkness. Nobody had ever really seen anything like it before. The very brave folks sprang from their hiding places and peppered the animal with arrows and musket balls. Incredibly, the missiles failed to bring the creature down, and they only made it angry. With a crazy shriek, the animal lunged at its tormentors. The warriors drove it back with their spears and clubs, and after a tremendous struggle, the animal retreated back into darkness. And everybody was like, let's follow it. They tracked the creature throughout the night and most of the following day, and eventually they did manage to corner it. The creature put up a very good last stand and fought to the bitter end. When it finally fell, it cried, just like a human being. Once the creature was dead, a lot of folks skinned its carcass, painted its hide, and placed it in a medicine bundle. It was under the belief that whoever wore this medicine bundle in battle would be immune to enemy weapons, much like the monster whose skin it contained. The Nain Rouge, or Red Dwarf, is more than a cryptid to the city of Detroit. It's a devilish embodiment of the hardships that have befallen the city throughout its existence. According to legend, before every disaster in the city, the Red Dwarf makes an appearance to foretell the upcoming hardship. The first sighting of the Demon of the Strait occurred in 1701, when Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac, founder of Detroit, allegedly saw the being sitting on a bench. When the dwarf poked a stick at Cadillac, he retaliated with a drawn sword and nailed his adversary into retreat. As a result, Cadillac lost all of his money and moved back to France. Every hardship that befell Detroit from that moment forward came with an alleged sighting of the dwarf, sometimes climbing light poles disguised as a little human. Immediately before the catastrophic events, it's been spotted before riots, snowstorms, big battles, and a lot of other events. And finally for today, Dowagiac is the town in which reputable sources have supposedly spotted the odd Dewey Lake monster ever since the 1960s. These sources claimed a beast resembling a gorilla, bear, and cat mixed together, measuring 10 feet tall and covered with fur, has chased after multiple residents. In June of 1964, a woman claimed the 500-pound cryptid chased her into her home, and 3 more girls said they encountered it later that night on a wooded roadway. Multiple armed locals are said to have combed the woods looking for the monster who frightened the girls and the woman, but they found nothing. Some say the large creature is also armed with claws and scales, allowing it to swim in its namesake lake. So perhaps the monster is just living up to its name and hiding beneath the surface of water until it can roam the woods again. Or maybe it's taking a page out of Nessie's book. Oh, I've been Alexa, resident Ookie Spooky Girly. See y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.